Hi, hello, and good afternoon, and welcome back to my channel. I've got a new topic to discuss here in relation to the food variety and choices in the schools in Ireland today. So obviously there's speculation and criticism over food variety in the hot school meals in their programs. So I'll just share a little bit of information with you. Um, the survey about the hot school meals program received 8,000 responses. Obviously, the new survey about the government's hot school meals program has found that 3/4 of respondents reported their children do not enjoy their variety of food, and of course, there could be more options, so the children are a lot more happier when there's different varieties. The survey commissioned by Fine Gael also found that parents were very critical of how the food is presented as well as the nutritional content, because obviously not enough of that food content is in different varieties, and there could be multiple choice that would be a lot more appealing for the younger generation. There were also concerns about the origin of ingredients used for the meals, including meat, because there's a lot of imports of different varieties of food produce coming in from different sources in different countries. So it's not all Irish produce. The survey ran from the 6th of January to the 18th of February and received almost 8,000 responses, and obviously it is escalating and the responses are increasing to a lot more than what it was. Only 1/3 of respondents considered the food nutritional, with many parents reporting that school does not offer a cold food option, when it's feasible and very important that your children these days have other options, not just hot. So it makes sense to have different varieties so the children are spoiled for choice. This option was a preference, as the survey found that most children would be more likely to eat a fresh cold lunch rather than the hot school meal. So it's their decision, their choice. So again, 93% of respondents said the program was currently operating in their primary school, as it is in others. However, 3/4 of respondents attributed perceived quality issues to the lack of centralised cooking and said leftover food was being sent home, as well as a lot of wastage, and it happens quite often here in this country. Obviously, most people also stated that more than half of the food provided is left uneaten. It could either be that it's not enjoyable, or there's no flavour, it's bland, and it could be a little bit more exciting. Because these days children do know the difference, what's nice and what's not. Of the suppliers who responded to the survey, many said that providing hot and cold options was not economically viable due to the reasons including transport and cooler box usages, but they'll find any excuse they can to try and avoid the main issue at hand. There were also issues for schools in terms of heating meals on site, and again, there's always an excuse or a cover-up. The scheme is due to be further rolled out in secondary schools, but in the survey, suppliers emphasised that portion size of secondary students approximately 450 grams, which isn't convenient, it's not enough, because children these days have quite a big appetite. You got to respect that. We're significantly larger than for primary students, around 250 grams, and it was not feasible to deliver larger meals at lower prices. Well, for the children of this day and age, their generation, they should be fed a lot better. Obviously, some primary schools, particularly those in rural areas, have had difficulties setting up the scheme. It's no surprise. Initial excitement about the scheme has also fallen since it was first implemented by former Minister Regina Doherty in 2019. There was 36 pilot schools before it was rolled out further to get approval. Since last September, there are 3,200 eligible schools in respect of 550,000 children, and it is climbing. So the survey showed the highest drop in demand for hot meals was in 5th class, with one supplier reporting that demand had decreased by 35% amid recent public debate. And there still is speculation about that as well. In a statement, the Department of Social Protection said that a dietitian Second, from the Department of Health, is carrying out a review of school meal supplier menus and compliance with nutritional standards. It's what they always say, but they're just holding back so they don't have to go deeper and further into the investigation of it all. The department said that in full report will be finalised in the second quarter of the year, but it never is. It won't ever happen. It also said that clear nutritional standards have been in place for the programme since it began, and that any concerns with the quality of food should be brought to attention of the principal of or board of management at the school. Majority of the time is bypassed. Survey was extensive, says Fine Gael senator. They always say it's extensive. They always say they'll look into it, but they don't. Fine Gael Senator Linda Nelson Murray said the survey was extensive and showed that, as well as having more choice, children also wanted more time to eat their school meals. For me, that's a poor excuse. They could have come up with something better than that. It's not the same as eating maybe a ham sandwich that you would have had maybe in the past, but that's very basic, very plain, and very boring. Children these days want something more exciting. So they're looking for extra time because they want to be able to go out and play as well. That can all be done all in good time, but it doesn't help the fact that children want something different that they're going to be happy with. So you've got to respect the fact they're not just children, they're people, and they have a good knowledge and understanding of different food likes and dislikes. So obviously it was said that 500,000 children were already availing of the scheme, and it had proved its value was having been improved in terms of nutrition, which it hasn't been. Since last September, the amount of salt and the amount of fat has been taken out of the food. And for example, you have chicken goujons now covered in rice, flour, and some sausages covered in seaweed, as opposed to a high fat content. So it's constantly being worked on. I find that very hard to believe because obviously who covers sausages with seaweed? Doesn't make any sense. And they're just trying to make up a cover-up story just to make it sound more interesting when it's not. So it was also told that the free meals needed to be fine-tuned before they are rolled out in secondary schools to make sure comments from parents and constructive criticisms are taken into account. Again, another excuse. They're avoiding the subject at hand, and it's not ever going to be implemented and nothing's going to be done about it. However, it was told that the scheme did not need to adapt further to meet more dietary needs, including providing gluten-free options for those with celiac disease. And again, that's not very professional, to be honest with you. The whole idea of the scheme was that we wouldn't alienate any children, and some children do feel alienated because their dietary needs aren't being met. And on a professional level, I have to agree with that. Children do require the necessary dietary requirements. It's necessary, and that has to be implemented and put into practice. It was also told that the special schools had also made their needs known to the joint committee on this issue. It was told that it was also important for parents to let schools know if they were opting out and providing a lunch alternative to let the school know in order to cut down on food waste. There's always going to be food waste regardless. It can't be prevented. Sarah Keogh, a registered dietitian with Eat Well, said the vast majority of hot school meals being provided were nutritious. But I beg to differ because a lot of children's meals these days, there's no flavour. So I think, in my opinion, there isn't a huge amount of improvements there whatsoever. There's a lot of scaremongering about the meals to parents when there's no need for it. It's not necessary. It was told that adding it would make them nervous. I don't see how, to be honest with you, because it's absolutely ridiculous. I think reassuring the Department of Social Protection in regards to the dietitians and implementing what the children require in schools, it's imperative.